Hey guys, what's up? We are here with Edgar and Fern from Fermgallery, collectors, connoisseurs, and resellers. And they're here to talk to us a little bit about their collection, what they have, what they've been saving, what they haven't shown, and we're excited to kind of dig into it today. How about we start with you guys kind of talking about how you guys sort of initially got into like collecting vintage, or how you got into collecting a lot of the stuff that you guys have.
Well, honestly, it all started in high school when, I saw this guy wearing an Odd Future shirt, and then I was like, bro, I love that shirt. It was freshman year, I think 5th period, right? And I was like, bro, I love that shirt. And this guy turns around, was like, 1v1 me in Quick Scope, Modern Warfare 2. I was like, oh, damn. And then we kicked it off ever since then, and, the music and, the love for it. And then he was telling me, how he loves collecting, all the Odd Future stuff. And then he put me on game. I'm not going to lie, he put me on game too. Odd Future. And then yeah.
Fern, maybe talk to us a little bit about Odd Future and that kind of special time that was, especially in the early stages where they were still a little bit underground. Tyler the Creator was just coming up with some crazy songs, and he was just shaking everything around him.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for me, it was always more so the love for the music than the actual pieces. Because all these pieces tell a story or a certain era of an artist. So yeah, just when you look at some of these pieces, it brings you back to 2011, 2010 with the Free Earl movement. Everybody knows how big that was. Everybody was saying Free Earl, Free Earl. So yeah, definitely, it was all for the love of the music, really.
Do you think your love for sort of music and collecting kind of started with Odd Future?
Absolutely, yeah. They were one of my favorite, well, they're still my favorite artists and all. Individually, throughout the years, Odd Future has started to do their own thing. Left Brain, Mike G, Haji, Damo, everybody did their own thing, but yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. And then that sort of led into the collecting, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the first Odd Future piece of merch that you ended up buying, or tell me what's the earliest sort of rare sought after item you ended up getting related to Odd Future?
So the first thing I ever got was probably the green socks at Zoomies. Everybody had the donut socks in middle school, high school. So I think that was one of my first pieces. But yeah, it just grew from there. I would buy a piece, resell it to one of the homies, and then just buy another piece, and that's really how this collection started.
It's interesting seeing
I used to resell in high school.
Really?
Yeah. Because certain pieces were hard for people to get. Some people just don't know where to get certain pieces. So if you wear a shirt you got off Depop or eBay at the time, they're like, yo, where'd you get that? That was only a New York exclusive or something.
It was a super special period where if you were able to find certain articles of clothing, there wasn't really a foundation for the hype. There wasn't really something popularized aside from kind of eBay, but still it was in the very early stages when it comes to hype clothing on eBay. So when you found it, it was a talking point amongst you and your friends. Yeah, so it's crazy seeing that.
The people who got it. Some people always thought it was weird. Some people did not like the bright colors and all that. But I guess that's what kind of set us apart from everybody else. People were not rocking with the Beamer colorway of the striped tees, or yo, you're weird for wearing that shit.
Yeah, roasted for that.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, but I guess that's what set us apart from all the other people.
Talk to me a little bit. It's super interesting because a lot of people's introduction into vintage started through streetwear, which actually originated through Odd Future in a lot of ways. It kind of laid out the sort of fashion foundation for it.
It's crazy how much streetwear ties into vintage, and Tyler really set the way for it, really, if you think about it, with the Supreme box logos, and you slowly all that stuff gradually goes into the next thing, so it's crazy how it all ties in together at then, so.
Yeah, no, it's pretty incredible and remarkable seeing the rise of streetwear coinciding with Tyler the Creator, Supreme, and then I said, sort of parlaying that into vintage. So maybe talk a little bit about how you started off with more streetwear through groups like Odd Future, Tyler the Creator, and that kind of led you into vintage, I guess.
So well, honestly, I can't say Tyler got me into vintage, but my first vintage piece was my dad's closet.
Really?
Yeah, my dad is an OG Latino guy from Jalpa, Zacatecas. Shout out.
Shout out.
Nah, but yeah, he had like couple Tommy Hilfiger windbreakers, bro, like tricolored ones. I remember wearing this red and black one every single day of high school, and these guys would be like, dude, that's nice, where'd you get it at? Like, I'll be like, I think it's my dad's old ass jacket, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, dude.
You never know the gems you can find looking in your dad's closet or your grandpa's closet. You can find some gems, some crazy button ups, some colorways. So.
And that was when like Tommy was kind of on the pop.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Asking me where I got my jacket, and I was like, bro, like my dad got it, like, I don't know, like maybe back in the 80s or 90s. Like, and then I didn't know it was worth much at that time. And then someone came up to me, he's like, bro, I'll buy that jacket for like $100. And I was like, oh no, I can't. And then I started researching into more and more and more. And then like I found vintage, and then all the music that I loved and enjoyed, like, were in the t-shirts as well. So like that's why I collected MF Doom, that's why I collected NERD, like we both collected Quasimoto, Madlib, a variety of stuff. Like that's what started it all, to be honest.
One thing I really like about you guys' page and you guys' curation is not just the fact that you're really great at what you do in vintage, but you're great at sourcing, identifying, finding like the rarest shit possible. What's the secret? Like, how are you guys doing that on like a weekly basis?
I feel like it's different for vintage and his Odd Future stuff, but like vintage, I'm always on the internet, always trying to find new ways to meet new people, like elders. Like I love talking to people about records. Sometimes talking to people about records and stuff lead you to like t-shirts. They'll be like, oh, I went to this concert in '87. And I'll be like, oh, really? You buy any merch from them? And I'll be like, yeah. And they'll be like, yeah, dude, I have this shirt. And then they'll hit me up that way. Or like for the Aphex twin tees, usually for those, like I just researched what the album cover and stuff like that, and I just got really lucky with those. But
that's crazy.
Yeah.
What about with the like more the Odd Future stuff? How are you finding some of these crazy pieces? Like maybe show us like what's going on right there with the suit.
Let's talk about the suit. This is gonna be the Igor Grammy suit that was actually worn during the Grammy performance. This was worn by one of the puppets. That's what Tyler calls them, the puppets that performed in the background. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy piece. I ended up buying this off one of the dudes who was in the performance. He's like, oh, I don't want the suit. Give me $200 for it. And yeah, we made the deal. But to me, this is priceless. This
it's
is
a piece of history.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really what it is for me. Just the history behind it, the love of the music. That's pretty much always going to be the priority for me.
That's great. And you just pulled the craziest Chief Keef Sosa.
Yeah. Pull that one out. That's right there.
Yeah, like talk to me about that, because that's absurd. Just in terms of rarity, just in terms of the look, like that aesthetic is just
It's a very unique shirt, the crazy colors and, the cutout Chief Keef head. This was actually when Chief Keef got locked up in 2013. Tyler made a shirt, and he posted on his Instagram. It's now deleted, but I have the screenshot of it. Tyler was pretty much just shouting, "Free Sosa." And he made this one-of-one shirt. And I don't know how, but I guess one of his homies or somebody in his inner circle ended up selling it on eBay.
No way.
Yeah, and the auction was at like $100, and I think it ended up going to like $145. I was 15 years old. That was the most money I've ever spent on a shirt. I was washing cars all summer. Like that shit was crazy. And it was crazy because to me, I could justify spending that much money on it at the time because I knew like what it was. Like I already knew the history behind it and the love I had for the music. So I'm like, it's definitely worth it. But Mexican parents, like, what are you doing spending $100 on a shirt, But to me, it was always worth it, just for the love of the music and the history aspect behind it.
It's crazy, like, seeing the inflation prices for a lot of these items. Like, this is, you can't really even put a price on this nowadays.
That? Yeah.
But back in, like 2012, 13, 14, 15, spending $150 on a shirt was absurd.
Even on a Supreme shirt, that was absurd.
Yeah,
none of those prices were hitting that hard back then.
Absolutely. Insane. So I think now is a good time for us to kind of start getting into some of the individual pieces. But for now, I think that we really appreciate you guys' time. We're glad to hear about you guys' history and how you guys got into the space. And now let's check out some of the teas. What should we start with, you guys think?
Should we hit him with the crazy stuff first?
Yeah, hit me with something crazy. Hit me with something crazy. So, Edgar, tell us a little bit about the origins behind this one in particular. I know that you're finally letting go of this one today, right?
Yes,
so tell me how you found it, number one, then talk to me about what the thought process was for why you're selling it.
Honestly, when I found it, it was very late at night, and it was all my group of friends. Like, we all like staying up at night playing Grand Theft Auto. Like, we're still back in like
That's the
teenage
vibes,
days,
yeah.
dude. Like, honestly, it's better than cruising around LA. You can cruise around GTA. And listen. Nah, but it was about 2 a.m. and then I was just actually Aphex Twin did come on GTA's Blonded Radio, IZUS. It did come on, and then it made me search on the Instagram hashtag for some random reason. I don't know. I had a good feeling, and then this shirt popped up. First post, 5 seconds in.
Crazy.
Like, yeah. And I hit up the guy. It was an old dude from Europe, and he worked with RNS Records back then. And he was a huge fan of Aphex Twin. He had this one and a bunch of Reflex T-shirts, but he wouldn't want to sell me the Reflex T-shirts. That's this one.
So that's all you got, unfortunately.
Yeah, just got this one. Yeah, and then I didn't lowball him or anything. Like, I paid well because I wanted him and his daughter to enjoy like a good time out. And he used that money to go to Disneyland, which is pretty cool. And what made me want to sell this T-shirt, honestly, I do have this shirt, and I do have another Aphex Twin shirt that I didn't bring, unfortunately. But honestly, this is more of like an art piece, like you hang on the wall, and like I couldn't see myself wearing it. I just couldn't see myself wearing it. And the history behind it is just crazy. Like, there's so much story behind the T-shirt, and it's just a shirt.
How many were produced of this one?
50.
Crazy.
50, 1 out of 50.
Insane.
And only in Europe only, so like...
And there's probably one, but in terms of like what's around today, I only seen like one other one,
Probably
right?
one, yeah. There's only one other one. I'm pretty sure all the other ones didn't make it, or like they're just somewhere stuck in storage. Exactly,
Yeah.
they got beat. A lot of people will use these in raves, so like, you know how raves go,
Yeah.
like...
They get messy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, this one...
Cool, yeah, and I
two
talked
are
to
my
like the
top
Come to Daddy.
pieces.
That print has just become so like emblematic, I guess, of...
This is probably everyone's Aphex Twin Grail, like the
Yeah.
iconic Come to Daddy piece. And it's crazy too about the history of this shirt, like the music. You know that Richard took off the song on like the circulation of like the billboards and stuff. He didn't want it to go number 1.
Just as an FU?
Yeah, he just didn't want it. It was at number 50, and then he took it off, and he didn't want to go number 1 for some odd reason. Yeah, I don't know the story behind why he didn't want to go number 1, but yeah, that's one of the reasons why.
I mean, he's a bit of a rebel. He's an iconoclast. He's someone that, you know, is okay with maybe not getting the fame and popularity associated with the fucking banger.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, this is an incredible shirt. It's like the little things about this shirt I love, like the fact that you could see kind of like the skin color print right there.
The main thing that scared everyone was when he grabbed that old lady and started screaming.
Exactly, yeah. No, that's awesome. Maybe we should, I'd like to get into one of the Odd Future pieces, if that's okay. If you got one in particular.
Yeah, I think this one is worth mentioning. This is going to be the Odd Future Missing Earl tee.
Crazy.
I feel like everybody's seen this shirt at one point.
Yeah.
If you were in like the skatewear, or, you know. But yeah, so this was when Earl got locked up. He went to Samoa. I guess he was causing trouble out here in LA, and he had to, you know, go back home for a bit and get straight. But yeah, so there's the shirt that Tyler made when they were already booming over here in LA. And
so he was, yeah, I remember.
It was like a boarding school or something.
Yeah, I
something
remember
like
that. That's so funny. They were kids, man. So it was crazy the fact like, oh, he's going like to a boarding school or whatever in Samoa. Yeah.
It was crazy because when everybody said Free Earl, everybody thought he was locked up or something. But
he was just like out of town.
He was just at school. But yeah, no, so this shirt's pretty crazy. It released at a LA show out here, and I believe they only sold like what, 50, something like that. But yeah, so Earl ended up signing this one at the Novo show in LA.
Yeah, talk to me a bit about the signature. What's up with the quotes?
So when I got Earl to sign this, he was a little bit tripped out. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sign this shit with quotation marks on some Virgil shit, you know, some off-white shit, just so it's, you know, becomes valuable one day." But no, this thing I don't think it'll ever be for sale.
Yeah.
I don't even like selling a majority of my stuff just because of the love for the music and just the OF history.
That's insane, man. That's insane.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy print.
Now I'm a personal Frank Ocean nut, right? Talk to me about maybe one of the pieces or two of the pieces that you particularly find.
Yeah, we got a few up here. Get that one.
The other blondie tee.
Oh yeah, the blonde one's right here.
You want to talk about these first before another album?
Yeah, we'll start off with the Channel Orange.
Yeah.
So this one's just going to be the Frank Ocean Channel Orange Grammy promo tee. So this one released in Australia. It was like at a Grammy party out there. And yeah, just different reviews of the album. And yeah, it's a pretty cool shirt. It's a size large. I got this one on eBay for like $12.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
Like what, 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
back in high
Crazy. I
school.
mean, now the Channel Orange merch is so sought after because it was just
Absolutely.
released in such limited
yeah.
quantities. I mean, this is like an Australian promo
release.
shirt. So it's just crazy seeing it, honestly.
Definitely.
Yeah, dude, and it has like all the magazines saying like
Yeah.
what they
Just a
think
review about the album. That's
Insane.
pretty crazy tee.
Yes, staying chronologically correct. Where are we at? The blonde
The
stuff. is
blonde
just-
promo tees.
Now, were these associated with the string of drops that he had? I remember he did it around the country. There was maybe a couple international that he did.
Right. Yeah.
Were these shirts dropped at the location?
So these ones were supposed to drop alongside the Blonde magazine, but unfortunately he just ended up scrapping the whole idea, and these were just sitting in a warehouse in LA.
Yeah, tell me
Yeah.
a bit more about how you came to acquire those
Yeah,
from...
so I got this from a dude who worked, I believe the company was Sandbag, the one that produced Frank's merch. They did the magazine and a few other stuff. Yeah, they had a bunch of these. These were set to release with the mag, but he ended up scrapping the idea. So these sat in the warehouse for the longest, and I guess at one point they're like, all right, who wants them?
And
so
then,
that guy ended up taking them and posted them on OfferUp and
and you snagged them.
snagged them. Yeah, he had a box of 42. So it was like 10 of these and then 30 short sleeves.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Okay, someone that's, especially for some reason now, I feel like there's just like this renaissance over MF Doom. I don't know whether that's Edgar or Fern to talk about it, but we need to get into like the history, the history, the origins, and like what makes some of these MF Doom tees so important and special, and honestly like giving them historical importance, because MF Doom is becoming even more relevant now than it was. Edgar, you're an MF Doom nut.
Yes, sir.
And like I said previously, he's only growing in relevance, after his passing. Seeing some of his merch, which was super rare back in the day, and you having some of it, especially some of the earliest stuff, is crazy. So why don't you go into a couple of your favorite ones?
So my top two, even though like it's hard to decide on which one, is probably the earliest MF Doom related item ever made. It's this KMD 1991 shirt, for the album Mr. Hood. And the reason why this was more rare compared to the other ones, even though I haven't seen any other ones of those personally, is because KMD was only for like a short amount of time. And it started before Doom was Doom, he was called Zev Love X. And his little brother, DJ Subrock. And then they made like 2 albums, I believe. And then it's Mr. Hood, and then another one that didn't come out, unfortunately, because Subrock's dead.
Yeah.
And then...
And anyone that knows MF Doom is familiar with just how impactful the loss of his brother was on MF Doom, not only in terms of like musically, but from a character perspective. It kind of changed his entire arc from like a rapper to sort of embodying this like super villain type persona.
It was so bad when his brother passed away. Like he almost I read like in a documentary that he did like years ago, he said that he was almost deadbeat broke. Like he was living by car to car, and like he was struggling with. But the one thing was funny that he always said, it was no matter if he was broke, he would always buy a beer if he had $1. Yeah. No matter what, he said he'll still end up buying that beer, that's what I love about Doom, man. Like I just love how no one really knew how he looked like, and like no one knew who he was. Like he was just like a hero. Like no one knew who he was, but like his rhymes would say something to you. Like they would speak to you. And this is probably one of the rarest out of all of them, because just a short run of this is
his, crazy to think of, but it's sort of like his villain origin story, right?
Yeah, this is what started the villain.
Yeah. It's an insane piece of history, and just like seeing, what it means to his sort of like musical arc is just, it's incredible.
Exactly.
Take us to the next one.
Yeah, so the next one is when Doom, this is my favorite album of all time. Like anyone can argue with me, but this is by far my favorite Doom album. King Ghidorah, Take Me to Your Leader, is one of Doom's other names out of many, like Mad Villain, Metal Fingers. The list goes on. I was just signing record deals just to get that bag. And man, this shirt is my favorite one out of all of them, but I don't consider it the rarest one because I still feel like they made this in promotion of the album. I just still have yet to see another. And probably my favorite song out of this is Fast Lanes, or man, like this whole album is just one of the best Doom albums that ever came into existence, in my opinion.
Crazy. Now we should get to probably the most recognized one, featuring his kind of contemporary
Mad Villain.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
this
sir.
is probably what people are most at home. People at home are most familiar with, right?
Yes, sir. Everyone knows the Listen Clothing. I know somebody in the vintage community is still was a part of this Listen Clothing, I believe. I can't remember his name, but he was, and he was telling me more information about this, that they only made 30 each, one in San Francisco, which was in gray, and I believe this is the LA show one because it is the tan color. There's a gray and tan color. And after 20 years of this, it's still brand new, never worn. I never had the chance to wear it, but like I still love and appreciate how much this t-shirt is. Mad Villain in general is probably one of the best albums that, not to me, but like in other people, it does speak to them more than any other album, Mad Villain.
Yeah.
And this is what started my love for MF Doom, Mad Villain, Food. Like if it wasn't for like any of my friends like listening to it while we're riding in the car, Fried Friends, or like there's so many songs. Yeah, dude.
It's funny you say that. Like, I mean, this could go to both of you guys, but like seeing, I don't know, the cultural sort of relevance, and like not only that, but sort of the on the ground influence that like some of these songs and some of these bands and groups like had on you. Like I could remember, listening to Odd Future in high school, like during my lunch break, and with my homies, like grabbing something to eat, right? Like it's just it carries such an impactful sort of space in your like your own personal history.
It's almost like the nostalgia factor,
exactly.
This really brings you to some good memories from the past, and that'll automatically make you want to buy it.
Honestly, just like looking at it, I'm brought back to it. Maybe for anyone that doesn't know, you could talk a little bit more about this one.
Yeah, so this is the Golf Wang cloud button-up that Earl wore in the oldie music video, and this is really what started it all for me. When I seen the music video, I'm like, I need that shirt. But at the time, it was only like a pop-up exclusive. They had it at the pop-ups, I think on the East Coast, so there was like no way for me to get it at 12 years old being out here in LA. So a few years later when I got in high school, always be on eBay. They're always like $200, but I ended up saving the money and I ended up buying this one for around $150, $175 around there. So
nice.
I actually have 3 of these. So yeah, definitely had to triple up on this.
That's our addiction that we have. We always have to double.
I always have to double, triple up on certain pieces.
Wait, we got to go one more piece. I'm so sorry. We need. Wait, and we gotta talk about this one too. Like I need like Kanye, like Murakami stuff.
I feel like there's so much to talk about with so little time.
Okay, let's choose like 2 more pieces and like let's go into them. Okay, so Edgar, talk to me about the crazy Murakami Kanye piece. Like I don't know if I've ever seen this one before. How'd you come to get this one, and what's the story behind it?
Yeah, this one basically was released with the one of the best albums, Graduation, and honestly, like the rarity of this, I feel like they only made this in a couple shows because I hardly don't ever see these come out, and you always see the one with Kanye's face on them. There's always that one. I'm not sure if you ever seen it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I did post it on my page as well. That one sold. This one I had to keep though because it's one of a kind. And I got this brand new from the guy that went to the show. Yeah, in Chicago.
Insane.
And he got it. He kept it. He said his whole life, like, he never wore it because...
it's in crazy condition.
He never had the chance to wear it. And I guess, like, in Chicago, the weather sucks. So, like, he told me that he doesn't like to wear hoodies as much during the summer.
Oh, you'll take it.
It's some weird story behind it. But, yeah, Murakami, Tekashi's beautiful art, The Ghost from, I forgot what was the song that The Ghost was chasing Kanye in.
Yeah.
Let me think about it. I think it was.
And I'm even like seeing a little bit of like Kids See Ghosts in this one as well.
That's right. Yeah, that Ghost is still on
the cover.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Like from the Graduation era, Kanye West, like taking it all the way to kind of more contemporary age, still using like that Kids See Ghost Murakami artwork. That's crazy, and it goes to show like what it meant to.
And the influence Murakami has on Ye is crazy. So, the Quasimoto, the famous Yes Sir album. This was prior to Yes Sir, the album. This was made in the early 2000s when Quas/Madlib would just draw, and all these designs are made by Jeff Jank. Jeff Jank is the one that made the cover for Mad Villain, the cover for this, Yes Sir, and this beautiful t-shirt as well. This one is just as rare as probably this one, but I don't see this one as much as the hoodie.
Actually, I got a 3.
Hold on.
Yeah, I feel like the early Earl stuff is going to only grow in relevance and value as the years go by. The fact that you guys have 3 of these crazy pieces is insane. Talk to me a little bit about them.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is going to be the Dirtbag Missing Earl collab. It's crazy because these were really like, when he was the owner of Dirtbag, he was making these, like, I think he was like in high school, just making these at his house, like in the kitchen, and he actually documented a lot of the process on Tumblr. So yeah, these shirts came out super sick. They came out with the off-white colorway, like a cream colorway, and then the tie-dye version. And then of course we got the OF version down there, somewhere down there. So yeah, there's like different variants of a shirt. So, it's right here.
The Dirtbag one.
Yeah, so we have the Dirtbag version and this is the OF version. But yeah, this is the different variants. We got the OF one, Dirtbag, and yeah, these are just really classic tees, you know, with the sick graphic. And it's crazy because these were like 2010, 2011. So it's crazy how well these, you know,
Aged.
Yeah, they age really nice. I mean, super sick.
Honestly, I see these as like a modern day like
Rap
people
tee.
rap tee, because I know people like love like how like just like the tag, the neck tag, like the
How
print.
vibrant that pink is super sick.
And like just the vibrant colors bring like the rap tee aesthetic, I feel like, and I feel like Odd Future was ahead of their time doing like some of these graphics, because
especially with the small details, even on their tag, they would have, you know, some crazy lettering. Or let's see this. What does this one say? This one says. This one says, "Keep it gutta, kill them all." So just small things like that.
Yeah.
Small details like that, and some of the early OF merch was super sick. Wait, can I see the tie dye one? So yeah, some of the details. Have you seen me? Earl sweatshirt.
With the features.
Yeah, loitering Supreme LA, features big forehead. Just small stuff like that really made, you know, OF pieces, you know, classic.
Yeah.
you want to talk about your favorite shirt?
Let's talk about this one.
And the Neptunes?
Yeah, so this one's going to be the Neptunes Presents Clones promo tee from 2003. Yeah, this is a crazy shirt. You don't see it too often. This size large, the side Star Trek hit. Then we got the track listing with all the different features. We got ODB on there. Yeah, just a bunch of different people around the album.
What makes this one your favorite?
Just I don't see it too often.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, but this one's going to Tyler whenever I catch him at a good time. So yeah, that one's for sure. Tyler's probably one of the biggest, Neptunes nerds fans. So
yeah,
it's only right that one goes to him.
Let's talk about one of my favorite T-shirts growing up, and one of my favorites he's still upcoming artist. I feel like not a lot of people still know about him.
I feel like he still hasn't reached that level that I think you and I would put him at, right?
Exactly.
But he's been around so long, like low key, and it's crazy seeing some of his
I feel
merch.
like his style and influence has influenced a lot of people as well. Like his little gothic, all black,
sad boy aesthetic.
Sad boy aesthetic exactly has been around and it's still going around. This is for the album Unknown Death, and it's probably one of the most craziest albums. I feel like you have to have a really good listen in order to enjoy the album, because he's in one of the songs he's like, Louis duffel bag filled with heroin. But that shit, it's pretty hard. It sounds hard. You can't lie. And honestly, Young Lean is probably one of my favorite artists to this day, probably my top 5. I have 2 of his shoes. I sold one of my shoes to one of my good friends over there. He still probably rocks them every day. And I
think Young Lean's been low-key super influential with a lot of contemporary artists, especially like we were saying with that sort of sad boy low-key aesthetic that he's got. And it's cool seeing his influence kind of still making waves today.
Yeah, exactly. His Converse, anything that I feel like Young Lean merch goes for a little bit now, and it's still rising in price. And like I feel like throughout the years people will start to learn and appreciate Young Lean a little bit more, because like there's songs that are like I can't like weird in a way, and there's songs that like you can listen to. Like my recommendation, if you're barely getting into Young Lean, listen to Hennessy and Sailor Moon, probably one of the saddest songs on earth. That's the only song that made me cry, not gonna lie. That's the only song that's ever made me cry. That one, or like Kirby, like there's so many like little like Young Lean songs that I loved and enjoyed growing up. But yeah, that's Young Lean right there for you. And I wish I brought the Converse.
Side thing, just like something about like that video aesthetic. I remember when he first started putting out like some of his music videos.
Yeah.
They were just so perfect for that time, I guess. Like just everything about it, and like the cool graphics that he was using, and he was a kid.
Yeah, dude, he was like, I think like
that progressive
15, 14. Yeah, he was growing up like crazy, and like honestly, like everyone was still doing that Arizona, like all that LSD edits and stuff. I was doing it, not gonna lie. I was photoshopping my friends next to like Arizona bottles and stuff. Like, it was weird, but it was a good time, honestly. I don't regret doing none of that stuff, and it put me onto a lot of good music listening to this guy, honestly. And like his noisy interview, I found out listening to Radiohead by him. I started listening to Radiohead because of him. Yeah, he would shout out Radiohead all the time and wear the Pablo Honey shirt all the time. Yeah, that was one of his favorite shirts. But yeah, that's Young Lean for you.
Oh yeah. What's the name of the gallery or the
Fermgallery? Ferm Gallery. Most people think it's FIRM.
Okay, well now I know. Okay, but that's associated to your name, right? Like,
no, actually,
bro, like this is confusing as fuck. Because you were like, oh, to remember his name, just say Fern. But I know it's Firm. But I was like, well, maybe it's some variation of like the IG handle for his name.
No, we're not obsessed with this, man. But
yeah, I was gonna say, who's leading this on? Like, what are you?
No. So Fermgallery, basically, like the name came about with our friend Mason. His mom actually came up with the name. It was supposed to be a group of 4 of us, but 2 of the guys backed out because they just had their lives together and they wanted to focus on other things. But Fermgallery is actually supposed to stand for the people that don't know, Fernando, Edgar, Ryan, and Mason.
Okay, shout out Ryan and Mason. Shout out Ryan and Mason. We're missing you, bro.
Yeah, but we're still best friends with those 2 people. So like, shout out to them. If it wasn't for them either, we wouldn't be here. This is Fermgallery. Catch us on the Easy Live app with Bidstitch. Stay tuned.
Hey!